all the bands that I ended up listening to, David Bowie and Black Sabbath and Kiss and things like that, I had heard about all of them through my church because I was told this is what I wasn't supposed to listen to, so I went out and bought it immediately.
The forbidden fruit Brian Warner savored as a boy, Marilyn Manson now dishes out to a hungry new generation of fans. And it doesn't take long to see what makes Manson so shocking. He takes shots at Christians by portraying evangelists as fascists and tossing a torn-up Bible into the crowd.
You know, in the past, people have always, hid their horns, so to speak, because they've always backed down when people confront them about the darker side of, man's nature. But I don't think it's something we should be afraid of or ashamed of.
One of the things you have now is you have this generation where, the parents grew up on rock and roll, so the parents, grew up during the 60s or whatever, and so it's like, so it's got to be pushed a little bit further because, their parents aren't going to be, as easily outraged as maybe my parents were,
Jim Henke is the former music editor of Rolling Stone and now chief curator of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum in Cleveland. He showed us items like the guillotine and severed head that Alice Cooper used to shock audiences of the 70s. And he tells us that being offensive is part of a tested rock and roll formula for success.
A big part of the idea is that they want to do something that's going to outrage the parents, and who can be more outrageous. So that's always been an element of rock and roll, and for certain people, whether it's Alice Cooper or Ozzy Osbourne or Marilyn Manson, it's a big part of what their entire goal is, I think.
If shocking parents is the goal, then Manson does not disappoint. His music is laden with images of hopelessness and despair. At one time, Manson even breaks a wine bottle across his chest.
Everyone sees me as this bad person because of what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is in everyone. It's the part of you that no longer has hope in mankind, and you realize that, you are the only thing you can believe in. That's really the bottom line.
We don't want to believe in a God that doesn't believe in us.
They always say that you remember a civilization by its architecture and its music. That's scary.
Barbara Wyatt of the Parents Music Resource Center helped lobby for warning labels on records with explicit lyrics.
Well, I think certainly the satanic themes are in here.
Now, she says she takes at least 20 calls a week from parents complaining that Manson's music goes too far.
Where is the harm?
Well, again, it's what goes into the brain and stay in the brain.
I don't think there's any evidence here that these, kids are going to go out and, rape and loot and, storm our neighborhoods.
They're just having a good time.
I think that's pretty much what it comes down to, yeah.
It's only rock and roll?
That's only rock and roll, and they like it.
If this is true, that it's only rock and roll, then everyone who reacts to the shock of Manson's music becomes part of the show. The rebellious youth who pay to see him, and the indignant parents who want him to leave.
My prayer is that there'll come a day when there are no cities left for him to perform in.
Unfortunately for them, usually with all of their complaining and protesting, they end up just selling more tickets.
And this may be what his detractors find most shocking of all. The sales of Marilyn Manson's latest album recently went triple platinum, exceeding 3 million copies worldwide.
I think people are just afraid of things they don't understand, and maybe they're not meant to understand me, but obviously some people do, and that's important to me.